Hey, good day and blessings, and welcome to Imago Spiritual Learning and Wellness. Um, Wanted to discuss something about words and meanings, but first, the tea of the day, and I don't think I'm going to be doing this every day, but it's a pretty cool part of what I'm doing here. So I don't know, but anyway, it's what I'm drinking today is an herbal blend, and let me get these out of the way here. Um, and it is the ingredients. I don't want to lean too much. Okay, so the ingredients are motherwort, nettle leaf, hops, mugwort, damiana, and mullein. All right, I won't get into what all those do, what their benefits are, but this is an herbal blend that someone had given to me a couple years ago, and actually it was. But yeah, so I just made a tea out of it. Um, well, I didn't make a tea out of it. I made a tea with it. I think the original intention is to smoke it like cannabis, I guess. Um, and I did give it a try just to see what it was like. You know, it was it was it was not to my liking. So anyway, but I wanted to share something, just a bit of insight about the word um, wealth, and wealthy. Um, and ever since a child, I always enjoyed, I should say, I always enjoyed reading, and I came to discover through my years of schooling that writing was one of my um, talents, strengths, and and I've done quite a bit of it over the years. Like, for example, I maintain a dream journal, and I recommend that everyone does. And I've got to credit, my teacher. I took this course in science of mind and metaphysics, and my teacher in that class, Lucretia. Um, she won't be watching this, but she had encouraged. Well, she had the students start a dream journal, and I did, as a student of the class, and I really got into it. And there were times when I've journaled as well, just kind of my daily stuff, my daily happenings and doings and thoughts and all that. And but what I found for myself is that I really enjoy dream journaling. Um, it has been therapeutic. It has given me insight into myself. And then through that practice, I developed um, other practices or rituals, if you will. Ways of tapping into the dreaming experience. Um, in a very conscious, a very intentional way. Um, and Yeah, so it's been an enormous blessing in my life, dream journaling. I strongly encourage everyone to do it. And who knows, maybe one day if this grows here with Imago, and I pray that it will, but I definitely would like to, facilitate, some kind of group activity centered around dream journaling and centered around some other things as well, just tools and things that I've developed over the years for myself, that have really worked in my life. I can attest to that. Um, but in my sharing of those things, if it comes to that, ultimately the point is for each one of us, each one of you, to tap into your own inner dynamics, and to 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 get from within your own self um, ways, tools, discoveries, revelations that will add to your growth and your development along spiritual lines, um, as a human being. Um, Tremendous value, again, and it's based on my experiences. It's not theory, and And so, yeah, it's, but dream journal, man, got to do it. And I've been keeping my dream journal. I just recorded my latest one from last night. But and there were some periods, here and there where I did not journal. It wasn't like absolutely every day without missing. No, but I've been consistent with it since 2001. February 20th, 2001 was my first dream journal entry, and tremendous. These past 24 years with that, and I have a number of dream journals that have been filled up, and so I keep having to buy new ones. Absolutely, and a great practice to add, for anyone to add to their toolbox, if you will. And there are many, 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 many tools, many ways, many paths. It's all good. So whether you do it or not, it's all good. But anyway, I wanted to talk today about. So I wanted to acknowledge Lucretia, for that, for helping me to get started with that. And I want to take this time out to. So I was saying that how I always enjoyed reading, and writing, and my discovery and my discoveries of that and through that, and what I've gained from it. I'm not going to get into detail about that because my point is just to share something with you that maybe perhaps you can put into action for yourself in some way. I don't know. But so, like I was saying, in my youth, I really, I enjoyed reading, I enjoyed writing, and so, and my enjoyment of words, of language, really took off when I was under the tutelage of my mentor Ben Daniel. Ben Daniel, to me, truly a spiritual giant. He was a pastor in a Seventh-day Adventist church. I did not know him at that time in the Bronx. I did not. I think it was the Philadelphia Church, Seventh-day Adventist in the Bronx, and he had been pastor there for a number of years. That was his calling, his career, his vocation, and until it all fell apart, and because he started, sharing some discoveries that he was making through his studies, and sharing them with the congregation, and word got back to the structure, the church organization, the hierarchy, that he was doing some things that were, I guess, seen as controversial, and I could see why, they would see it that way. It definitely, shook up the place from what I heard. Again, I was not there, and so. And then he was also even sharing with the congregation, too, how their money was being misused by the organization. And that's not to, cast a negative light on the Seventh-day Adventist Church. That's not the point here at all. I was a Seventh-day Adventist for quite a number of years. I was first raised Catholic, and then around the age of 12, 13, I started my own searchings, questionings, and went to a Baptist church, and then checked out Islam a little bit. Never became a Muslim, but really checked it out because of my love and admiration for Malcolm X. But it did not appeal to me, and so and then the Seventh-day Adventist Church, came my way, and so my first entry into the world of religion, I give my mother credit and praise and blessings for that, because she was the first individual to take me to Catholic Mass when I was a little boy. And from the very first day that I was there, I knew what I wanted to do with my life. I wanted to become a priest. And the only reason I wanted to become a priest was because I viewed, to my little 5-6-year-old mind, I saw the priest as the one who was closest to God, because no one had ever talked to me about God prior to my first visit to Catholic Church, Catholic Mass. And this was St. Anselm's Church in the South Bronx. St. Anselm's Catholic Church in the South Bronx. A beautiful, beautiful structure. And inside of it, just beautiful, just beautiful. Anyway, so, and I was really awed by the experience. And and so this idea of God, it was just, and so that first day in Mass, I said to myself, to my little mind, and I remember this, I said, I want to be a priest. And again, it was because I saw the priest as the one who was closest to God. And my only desire was to be close to God. That's why I wanted to be a priest. So I saw the priesthood as a means to that end, to be close with God, to be close to God, as I framed it in my little mind. And so that's what it's been ever since. And really the ultimate quest for me, as I look back in hindsight through all my years, all of my visits into all the various rooms of religion and churches and this and that, and schools of thought and belief systems, my always at the heart of all that, the essence of all that, was simply my desire to be close to, today I say, at one with Creator. And so, and that's not a desire anymore. Well, to be one with Creator is not a desire, because that's just, in my mind, that's just a fact for all of us, right? Creator expresses in us, through us, as us, all of us. And whether we align with that or not, whether we harmonize with that or not, that's up to each one of us. All of our paths are very different, very unique, individual, and none of us can really judge that of another. And it's so easy to fall into judgment, right? That's in that world of duality, right? That world of dualism that I discussed yesterday. So in part one, anyway, so of yesterday's 2-part video. So anyway, so I credit my mother for first taking me to Catholic Mass, and then I credit my father with the one who introduced me to Seventh-day Adventist teachings, and what I really liked about it, and I was introduced to the Seventh-day Adventist Church in my late teens, and then into my early mid-20s, kind of really searching that out. And what I really appreciated about that experience was that, it's the church's incorporation of the health message, the importance of physical health, good diet, clean water, clean air, exercise, and all that, as parts of our spirituality, and they are, so I appreciated that for that. And I appreciate my father for introducing me to the Seventh-day Adventist Church, just like I appreciate my mother for introducing me to the Catholic Church, and so ultimately, I became a part of this kind of independent congregation headed by Ben Daniel. His name at the time, his Christian name, if you will, from birth, was Charles Anderson. So he was Pastor Anderson when he was in the Seventh-day Adventist Church. And I met him and came to know him and his little independent congregation after he was fired by the Seventh-day Adventist Church and his family was torn apart. There was a lot there. But, and Brother Ben Daniel was really, really big on the meanings of words and semantics and etymologies, word origins, and how the meanings of words evolve over time through usage, and but that we must never lose sight of the original meaning. And so Ben Daniel had, really taken this love that I already had of language, and he just, inspired me to take it up to another level. And then I spent a year living with him, and that was a rough year. That was a rough year, because in the beginning, the first few months, man, he was rough on me. I mean, really, really, I thought the guy hated me. To be honest with you, I really did. And because I was so fraught with insecurities and hang-ups and stuff, and a really low self-image, I just thought that, okay, he hates me, he can't stand me, and yep, I'm no good, and kind of the old recordings from my childhood that I was no good and useless and a nobody and that sort of thing. But over the course of that year, because I stuck to it and I stuck to my commitment, and I did think about moving out a couple times because there were times I just couldn't take it. Again, he was really rough on me, and but I stuck to it, and over the course of that year, man, I grew so much, you know, personally, individually, but I grew so much in love with this man because he he was he became a father figure to me that I never had, and man, it's so I Brother Ben Daniel, wherever you are, my brother, I love you. I love you, I love you, I love you, I bless you, I bless you, I bless you, whether you're still walking on this earth in the physical or not, wherever you are, I bless you, I love you, and thank you so much. And he had 3 beautiful children, and but anyway, and and right now I'm kind of just as I got kind of a bit emotional there thinking about Ben Danielle. I feel the same with my mom right now, and I'm not going to talk about that because she's in a situation that's where she's cared for and everything, and my brother and his wife have done a lot for her in this latest episode of her life. But she's in Florida in a nursing home, and it's just my dream and my desire to get her out of there. So, okay. It's all good. Breathe free, brother. It's all good. So, I'm here, and I wanted to share with you this word, wealth, right? Wealth. And what do we think of when we think of wealth or wealthy? Well, through obviously we think of being rich, right? Having lots of money. Being financially independent or more than independent, and in terms of individuals, we'll think of individuals like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates or Warren Buffett, whoever, right? We think they're wealthy, right? And I'm not wealthy, right? That's what we say to ourselves, right? Well, we will point out that someone else is wealthy, like the individuals I named. And so, but normally I never thought of myself as wealthy, right? As being in that. Well, then one day I asked myself, well, what does the word wealth mean? What's the etymology of it? And etymology again is word origin. So, what does it mean? Where does it come from? So, I picked up my dictionary, and I have right now. I probably have I don't know, 7, 8, 9 dictionaries. I've given 1 or 2 away. I know to my son. I believe I know I gave 1 to my son. I believe I gave 1 to each of my sons, but maybe it was just 1. And I think, so, and I always encourage them, whenever you read, always have a dictionary with you. Look up words, because if you come across a word whose meaning you don't know, and if you just bypass the word, you just keep reading on, well, then there's a blind spot. So then the fullness of the meaning of that sentence is lost upon you, right? If we don't look up the meaning of the word, that's a blind spot. So then that's a word whose meaning we don't know, which means that we have not grasped the full meaning of that sentence. And if we don't know the full meaning of that sentence, we'll probably miss out on the full meaning of that paragraph. And if we miss out on the full meaning of that paragraph, we'll miss out on the full meaning of that page, and of that chapter, and of that book, right? So, and when we look up words, and my father always encouraged me to do this when I was younger, I would say, hey, Pop, what does this word mean? He says, look it up. You gotta basically pursue your own learning, and so he would never tell me the meaning. And I think sometimes he just didn't know. But it's all good because his instruction to me was the wise course. So I would look up words, in the dictionary. And it just became a habit. And what happens is when we learn the meanings of words, right, so then our awareness expands. And when awareness expands, that's a sign of an expanding consciousness. And when our consciousness expands, we expand because we are forms and expressions of life and consciousness. So we expand, right? So it's all about you expanding and growing and that's what we've got to do as individuals, and not leave our learning in the hands of teachers and preachers and people in authority and experts and all that. That's nonsense. That's nonsense. We've got to be autodidacts, right? Teaching ourselves, because ultimately the teacher is within. Right? The teaching is within, the learning is within, the healing is within, the wealth is within. So anyway, all right, let's go back to this word wealth, because we're already 20 minutes into this. How the heck does this happen? Okay, but it's all good. I'm not bound by time. So, yes, I am. Yes, I am. I'm still on this earth. I'm still in the physical, right? We're still here, and we've got to deal with the time factor. But all right, wealth. Let me read this. Okay, so wealth. And this is just from Webster's New Collegiate Dictionary from like the 50s or something, the 60s. Copyright 1977. Okay, 1977. Well, I was 9 years old. Turned 9. So wealth. All right. The first word the first meaning is welfare. Welfare. So welfare. Huh. Welfare in what sense? Because I grew up on welfare in the South Bronx. Couldn't be that. But maybe it is. Maybe it's just a play on words. Let's see. So when you look up welfare, it means the state of doing well, especially in respect to good fortune, happiness, well-being, or prosperity. Okay? So that's welfare. The state of doing well, especially in respect, I'll say with respect to good fortune, happiness, well-being, or prosperity. Well, the welfare that I grew up under, that was not with food stamps and all that. That was not, I wouldn't say that we were doing well. However, I will say that we were doing a lot better than, the impoverished in other countries. Maybe not all countries, but plenty other countries. The impoverished here in the United States, I think, are in a lot better shape than the impoverished in many or most other countries. But what does it mean to do well? So we're going to look into this, okay? There's a second word here, welfare, of, relating to, or concerned with welfare, and especially with improvement of the welfare of disadvantaged social groups, like welfare legislation, for example. Okay, receiving public welfare benefits. So that is a derivative meaning. Okay, that came to mean something through its application, through the passing of legislation, and then the way it was applied. And so that's the welfare that I grew up with. That's the welfare that I knew as a child. Okay, of, relating to, or concerned with welfare, and especially with improvement of the welfare of disadvantaged social groups. Now here's the thing. These disadvantaged social groups, how much improvement was there? And how do we measure that improvement? What's the standard where one is considered doing well or wealthy, perhaps? Anyway, that's man, we can go on for hours about that. But anyway, so wealth, okay, primarily welfare, okay? Secondarily, abundance of valuable material possessions or resources, abundant supply. All right? So that's what it means. And then another sub meaning is all property that has a money value or an exchangeable value, all material objects that have economic utility. Okay? So, however, primarily it meant welfare, right? And again, primarily, what does welfare mean? It means the state of doing well, especially with respect to good fortune, okay, happiness, well-being, or prosperity. All right. So now, so that's from Webster's dictionary. Now, I'm going to pick up this Dictionary of Word Origins. Okay, Dictionary of Word Origins by John Ito. All right, and this one, in this Dictionary of Word Origins, we read of wealth. The now virtually defunct, no longer used, right? The now virtually defunct wheel, W-E-A-L, which comes from that was the Old English word for wealth, wheel or well, W-E-A-L. I'm not sure of the pronunciation. Maybe well, wheel, well, meant welfare, and also riches. It was descended from prehistoric West Germanic. Velan, because the W is pronounced a V in German. Our letter W is pronounced a V in W. Anyway, so it comes from the prehistoric West Germanic derivative of the same base as produced English well, W-E-L-L. All right. This word, okay, the abstract noun suffix th was added. So th was added to well, W-E-A-L. Now it's wealth, right? The th was added to it in early Middle English to produce wealth, the word wealth. This also originally meant welfare, well-being, as well as riches. So primarily it meant welfare or well-being. Secondarily, it meant riches. So again, the question is, am I wealthy? Who's wealthy? Is Elon Musk wealthy? Jeff Bezos? Mark Zuckerberg? Are you wealthy? Now we're going to look at another dictionary. This is the Oxford Dictionary of English Etymology, Word Origins. Okay, the Oxford Dictionary of Etymology. Can't really see it with the glare, the reflection. All right, so in this dictionary, in this etymological dictionary, we see, I like saying words like that because I used to have such a bad stutter when I was a boy. I couldn't talk and blink, and I was beset with all kinds of anxiety, man, and craziness. So it's cool for me to have certain words roll off the tongue, like fluidity. For example, right? Took me decades to be able to say that word. Anyway, all right. So wealth, well-being, again, primarily well-being, welfare of a community, the well-being of a community. And then cross-reference commonwealth. That's where the word commonwealth, so one might say the commonwealth of a certain locale, right? The commonwealth of Massachusetts, the commonwealth of this or that. But commonwealth means common welfare, the common well-being. Just like community is the common unity, the common oneness. So the individual must be at one with all. And then when gathered with other like-minded individuals, then there's common unity. So likewise, the individual must be doing well, okay, must have well-being as a current condition of their life. And then collectively, with all the individuals and families, with all the parts of the community doing well and being in well-being, now we have commonwealth, the common well-being, the common welfare. So welfare of a community. And then secondarily, worldly goods and riches. Also, um, this is part of the primary um, definition of wealth: health. Health. And you know the saying, health is wealth? And you always hear it said that, wealthy people who end up really ill would always say, I'd rather have my health than my wealth, right? Well, they're both synonyms actually, but we know what's being said, right? I'd rather be healthy than to be rich, okay? So my question to you is this, my beloved, my beautiful ones. Ben Daniel would always call us the beloved, 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 beloved. And then I had a sister years later who echoed that. She didn't know Ben Daniel, didn't know anything about my involvement with Yahweh's Remnant Ministry, with that independent congregation that I referred to earlier. But Genesis, my sister Genesis in Brooklyn, New York, and she would call me her beloved. And whenever I heard that, I loved that word so much because it echoed it was an echo of my experience with my years at Ben Daniel and the beautiful congregation there. But anyway, so my beloved, my question to you is this: are you wealthy? Are you wealthy? I'm not talking about rich in terms of how much possessions you might have, material possessions, but are you in good health, physical health, mental, emotional health? What about spiritual health? Are you pursuing your spirituality? Are you pursuing the well-being of your spiritos, breath? Is everything good with the expressing of your life force? Is everything good with you as an expressing of Creator, as an expressing of genius? Oh, so many other things we can get into, the word genius also. But are you wealthy? Am I wealthy? Are we wealthy? Are we wealthy individually? And then collectively, are we wealthy? How are we doing? So I invite you to, consider that question, what it may mean to you. You can maybe, journal, do some journaling around that, do some writing around that. And I pray that we all really develop and feed our curiosity, right? Or engage our curiosity and engage the world with curiosity, with a desire to learn more, to know more, and to grow in awareness and in consciousness, to grow in wealth and well-being, where all facets of our lives are really solidly in place for us. Even if we find ourselves in difficulty, as I do today, right now, even right now, there's some really, significant challenges in place in my life right now. But that's not going to stop me from desiring to share with you, for your good, for my good, for our good, right? For our well-being, for our wealth and our common wealth, right? So, anyway, I'm going to leave that and leave here with you. I've taken up enough time. My throat is getting a bit hoarse. There we go. So many blessings to you in every way possible. Eternal blessings to you and to all that pertains to you. Thank you again for stopping by, spending some time with me here at Imago Spiritual Learning and Wellness. And so I invite you to, the invitation is always open. Is always open to you, to all, and if you want to share this with others, it's all good. You don't have to bring them here. You can just share them through what you've learned. But look these things up yourself, okay? Don't just take my word for it. Look them up yourself, and and let's engage with our learning and with whatever it is that we're here to do, whether it's our purpose, our calling, our mission, our talent, strengths, skills, whatever they may be. Let's engage with them with a newfound enthusiasm based on the idea that if I just pursue every avenue of my life that adds up to the totality of me. If I really engage with everything, with every aspect of my life, with newfound enthusiasm, and then seek to share with others in such a way that it benefits others, and if it benefits others, it benefits me, and it benefits us, and it benefits the whole. And if I can live like that, I'm wealthy. I have wealth, tremendous wealth, eternal wealth. We have that. We have that, beloved. It's all within. It's all within. Let's bring it out. Let's give it expression. Let's let it breathe. Right? That's our spirituality. That's our truth. So thank you. Many blessings, and be well. All right. Thanks. Turn this off.